think about the last time you bought something online. Um, who did you actually trust more to give you the real
Yeah,
story?
yeah.
Like, was it a glossy, perfectly lit influencer holding the product? Or, I don't know, an anonymous stranger on the internet who's just brutally tearing into its flaws?
Oh, definitely the stranger. I mean, we have completely developed this, like, highly sensitive radar for anything that looks even a little too polished.
Right.
Consumers are actively hunting for that unvarnished reality, you know,
Yes.
the dirt, the imperfections.
Yeah, and that tension between polished marketing and raw human authenticity. That's really the overarching mission of our deep dive today.
Exactly.
We're exploring the rapidly evolving landscape of digital trust and advertising.
Mhm.
We're looking at how businesses and you as a consumer must navigate this kind of wild space where human authenticity and artificial intelligence are just colliding head on.
And the timing on this is critical because, I mean, the ground is literally shifting under everyone's feet right now.
Oh, completely.
The traditional playbooks for how a business acquires a customer and, frankly, how a customer verifies a business, they're being completely rewritten in real time.
So true. And to map out this shift, we're pulling from a really fantastic stack of sources today.
We've got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, we have a BrightBrief research report covering the week of May 4th through the 10th, 2026. And this report compiles data and case studies from Shopify, OpenAI, Search Engine Land, TechRadar, and Search Engine Journal.
It's a massive overview.
It really is.
Mhm.
We are looking at the full spectrum of this evolution. So we'll dissect how a small brand bypassed traditional advertising to leverage the brutal honesty of Reddit.
Which is wild.
Right. And we'll examine the billions being lost in AI ad fraud and also break down some tactical frameworks for protecting your business in this new environment.
Because whether you're allocating a marketing budget or just, trying to buy a decent moisturizer without being scammed by a fake review.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Right. But understanding the mechanics of how trust is manufactured and measured today, I mean, it's just no longer optional.
It's mandatory. And actually, your moisturizer example points directly to our first source. Because in an age of incredibly polished, AI-generated marketing, raw authenticity has become this absolute premium currency.
Unbelievably valuable.
Yeah, there's this May 7th case study from Shopify, and it details a science-backed skincare brand called Aramore. They recently crossed $5 million in revenue.
Wow. Good for them.
Yeah, but what stands out is how they did it. So their CEO, Malous Shaban, deliberately skipped influencer deals.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she didn't pay for Instagram posts, no TikTok campaigns. She went straight to Reddit.
That is brave.
Right. She found active users in niche skincare subreddits, sent them free products for a 28-day trial, and simply asked for their honest feedback on the platform.
I mean, sending your product into the Thunderdome of a Reddit comment section, that is a massive risk.
It's terrifying.
It is. Because these are communities where users, they analyze chemical ingredient lists like they're peer reviewing a medical journal.
Oh, okay, let's unpack this. Because comparing Aramore's strategy to traditional marketing it's like asking for advice from a paid actor versus calling your friend who is just an obsessive photography hobbyist.
Right. You always call the friend.
Exactly. You want the person who cares way too much about the details and, frankly, isn't being paid to smile.
Yeah.
But I have to push back here a little bit. Reddit is notorious for mob mentality and, review bombing.
Oh, absolutely. It can turn toxic fast.
Right. A single bad reaction could completely spiral.
Mm-hmm.
So is Aramore's success just a lucky PR stunt, or is this genuinely a replicable strategy for small and medium-sized businesses?
Well, what's fascinating here is the underlying psychology of why this works. And yes, why it is absolutely replicable.
Okay.
When you look at the mechanics of trust in a really niche community, perfection actually breeds suspicion.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you see a glowing 5-star review from a polished influencer, your brain automatically discounts it as a transaction. You just know they got paid.
Right, of course.
Reddit users are largely unpolished. They're unincentivized. So when a user posts an unedited, badly lit photo of their skin and says, the packaging on this serum is incredibly annoying and the pump gets stuck, but the formula actually reduced my redness, well,
that tiny bit of criticism completely validates the praise.
exactly.
So the friction is the feature. The flaw makes the compliment believable.
Precisely. That raw customer proof becomes far more effective marketing than any massive influencer budget could buy.
Makes sense.
So for an SMB looking to replicate this, the mechanism is really about finding where your most serious, skeptical buyers congregate,
Yeah?
and then offering them real product access. You basically bypass the whole performance of advertising and go straight to verifiable trust.
So Aramore proved that imperfection sells in skincare, but we are seeing this exact demand for unvarnished truth completely alter how search engines operate too. I mean, at a foundational
Oh,
level.
everywhere.
People aren't just staying on Reddit, you
Right.
know? They take those buying questions out into the digital wild. And increasingly, the very first stop is artificial intelligence.
Yeah, the search bar is rapidly being replaced by the chat box.
Hmm.
And the major tech players, they are aggressively repositioning themselves to control that interaction.
And our BrightBrief report pulls some really critical updates from OpenAI and search engine land that, well, they illustrate this collision perfectly.
Right.
On May 5th, OpenAI announced the launch of a beta self-serve ads manager for U.S. advertisers.
Which is huge.
Yeah, it features CPC bidding, expanded measurement tools. They're essentially building a closed ecosystem, right? Turning ChatGPT into a traditional advertising channel. But at the exact same time, Google is updating its AI mode and AI overviews. Search Engine Land notes, Google is adding inline links, subscription labels, and discussion previews specifically to connect users with original sources and, quote, authentic voices.
Yeah, Google is trying to show its work. I mean, they are under massive pressure to prove where their AI models are pulling these answers from.
Right.
So they're desperately trying to surface the actual human beings behind the data.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting because there is a fundamental contradiction happening here.
Oh, for sure.
You have OpenAI building this walled garden where businesses are just going to pay to play while Google is desperately trying to link out to authentic human pages so they avoid, cannibalizing website traffic.
Yeah.
So if AI is answering the query before the user even clicks a link, what does this actually mean for SEO? Because we've all heard SEO is dead a million times, but does this shift actually kill it?
Well, it doesn't kill it, but it completely rewrites the mechanics. The traditional model of SEO, ranking for keywords by stuffing specific phrases onto a page and buying cheap backlinks, yeah, that is dead.
Good riddance.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
But we're shifting to a model where the goal is being the trusted entity that an AI model chooses to cite.
Okay, but how does an algorithm evaluate something as subjective as authenticity? I mean, it's just code.
Right.
How does it know if a page is a real human voice or just some really well-written marketing copy?
It looks at the semantic richness and the surrounding trust signals.
What does that mean exactly?
So an AI evaluating a page isn't just looking for the word plumber 50 times. It's looking for deep, complex human answers. It looks for incredibly specific FAQs that address nuanced problems.
Ah, okay.
And it analyzes the presence of raw customer proof like those imperfect Aramore reviews we talked about. And it evaluates the dwell time and engagement of the human users who land there.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. To survive this shift, businesses have to feed the AI the exact trust signals it requires. You have to build a repository of verifiable information so both the human reader and the machine learning model understand why your business deserves that citation.
So you're basically building a reservoir of trust for the machine to dip into.
Exactly.
That makes sense. But, I mean, if search engines are increasingly relying on AI to evaluate trust, handing over our advertising budgets to automated AI systems seems like the logical next step.
You'd think so.
Unfortunately, relying on these black box algorithms has created a pretty catastrophic blind spot for advertisers.
Oh, the automation of ad spending has turned into an incredibly expensive Wild West right now.
Truly. TechRadar reported a staggering statistic in our sources. Estimated global ad fraud losses topped $32.6 billion last year.
Billion, with a B. It's just staggering.
It's insane. And a massive driver of this fraud is the rise of AI-driven campaign types like Performance Max and Advantage Plus No. These platforms essentially ask advertisers to just surrender manual control over placements, bids, targeting. You just hand over a budget and let the AI find the customers.
Yeah, you are literally handing the keys over to a system whose internal logic is completely hidden from you.
And what's exploiting that hidden logic is the rapid growth of these made-for-advertising spam sites.
Ugh, the worst.
They really are. They're just garbage sites filled with cheap, generative AI content designed solely to host ads. It's like putting your car on cruise control, leaning back, and then realizing way too late that your GPS is actively steering you into a ditch.
Wow.
Right. All while the digital dashboard happily reports that you're making great time.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that analogy highlights the absolute core vulnerability here, which is the dashboard itself.
Right.
Because automated ad dashboards are specifically designed to show you that the platform is succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to look at how these algorithms actually function mechanically.
Okay, how do they function?
Well, a system like Performance Max, it's optimizing for the lowest cost per acquisition. It just wants to find conversions as cheaply as humanly or algorithmically possible.
But wait, the AI doesn't inherently know what a good conversion is unless you define it, right?
Exactly. So what happens with these made-for-advertising sites is they spoof engagement, they buy incredibly cheap traffic, they funnel it to a page loaded with your ads, and then they use bots or click farms to generate fake clicks and junk form fills.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the AI sees a form being filled out for, say, $2 instead of $20, and it floods that scam site with your budget because it genuinely thinks it just hit the jackpot.
Unbelievable.
And the dashboard, it shows a massive spike in leads. Your cost per acquisition looks incredible, but it's a total illusion.
So the algorithm succeeded at the specific mathematical task it was given, but it failed entirely at the actual business goal. Which means advertisers absolutely cannot take AI-generated metrics at face value anymore. Like, if the platform says it drove 50 leads today, the immediate follow-up has to be verifying if the sales team actually spoke to real human beings or if they were just dialing disconnected numbers generated by a bot.
Yeah, it requires a highly critical, almost adversarial relationship with your own ad platforms. You have to constantly audit the placements and the post-click behavior.
Which brings us to a massive practical hurdle.
Yeah.
Because if we know these AI dashboards can mislead us with vanity metrics, how do we scientifically test our ad spend? Like, we need to figure out what works without breaking the very algorithms we're basically forced to use.
This is where we really need to rethink some foundational marketing principles, particularly how we handle data.
Yeah, and our BrightBrief sources pulled a framework from Search Engine Journal from May 5th, specifically addressing how to test Google Ads bid strategies.
Really good piece.
It is, and the central argument for smaller businesses is incredibly counterintuitive. The guide states that running a native experiment, a traditional A/B test where you run a control group and an experiment group simultaneously, is frequently the wrong move.
Which completely violates Marketing 101. I mean, we are taught to always A/B test everything.
Right. So what does this all mean? Because I have to push back on this logic. If abandoning scientific A/B testing is the recommendation, how does a business verify anything at all? Aren't we just flying completely blind?
Well, this raises an important question about how machine learning actually ingests data. We have to look at the mechanics of what's often called algorithm starvation, or the low-volume trap.
Okay.
An AI bidding strategy requires a minimum threshold of data points, meaning conversions, to build an accurate predictive model of what a potential buyer even looks like.
Right, it needs to see patterns.
Exactly. It needs to see hundreds of successful actions to find that common denominator.
So if you're a massive e-commerce brand, getting thousands of sales a day, splitting your traffic 50-50 for an A/B test is perfectly fine. The algorithm still has plenty of data in both buckets to learn.
Correct. But imagine you are a specialized B2B software company or just a local service business, and you only get maybe, 20 solid leads a week.
Right.
If you run a simultaneous A/B test, you split those 20 leads into 2 buckets of 10. You are actively starving the algorithm.
Oh, see.
Yeah, it mathematically cannot spot trends or optimize with a sample size that small.
Yeah.
The statistical margin of error just renders the data completely useless, and then your campaign performance collapses.
Wow, so the pursuit of being scientific with an A/B test actually sabotages the machine's ability to function.
Yes.
So what is the tactical solution for a business that's trapped in that low-volume scenario?
The framework suggests abandoning simultaneous testing entirely and instead using sequential testing.
Sequential testing.
Yeah, so you run strategy A with your full budget for a month, allowing the algorithm to consume all available data and optimize fully. Then you switch the entire budget to strategy B for the following month.
Okay.
You give the AI all the fuel it needs for one specific strategy at a time.
Got it. And the most crucial part of this framework, which kind of brings our entire discussion full circle, is how you evaluate the winner of that sequential test. You cannot judge it by the conversions reported in the ad platform's dashboard.
Because, as we discussed with the $32 billion in ad fraud, platform conversions can be a complete mirage engineered by bots.
Exactly. You have to judge success strictly by real business outcomes. You look at closed revenue in the bank account, you look at actual contracts signed or qualified meetings booked.
Yes.
You essentially bypass the AI's internal reporting and measure the physical reality of the business.
It is a vital synthesis of where digital marketing is right now. I mean, we're operating systems of incredible sophistication, yet the data they feed back to us is increasingly opaque
Right.
and, frankly, prone to manipulation.
It's the ultimate paradox of this digital era.
It really is.
I mean, we started this deep dive exploring how a brand earned raw, unfiltered human trust in a niche Reddit community, proving that imperfection is the new standard for believability.
Right. And then we explored how that specific demand for authenticity is forcing search engines like Google and AI models like ChatGPT to completely restructure how they evaluate and cite information.
Yeah. And from there, we looked at the massive financial danger of just blindly trusting AI advertising algorithms, where these black box systems optimize for cheap, fraudulent clicks on made-for-advertising sites.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, we landed on a tactical framework for taking back control, feeding algorithms the dense data they need through sequential testing, while ruthlessly measuring success through actual business revenue rather than, dashboard vanity metrics.
And, the through line connecting all of these sources is really profound.
Yeah.
Because whether you're a business owner trying to allocate spend without funding a click farm, or you're just a consumer searching for a product review, you can actually believe.
Right? The foundational currency underneath all of this complex technology, it hasn't changed. It is authentic, verifiable human proof. The AI is merely the delivery mechanism. The trust still originates with us.
It's so true, and that brings us right back to our opening scenario. The glossy influencer versus the anonymous, brutally honest internet stranger. We have firmly established that right now the stranger holds the power. We trust the flawed, raw Reddit review.
Absolutely.
But I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to ponder as you navigate this space yourself.
Because the landscape is only going to move faster from here.
Exactly. If AI search assistants are becoming the primary gateway for finding products, and those very models are currently being trained to ingest and prioritize authentic human voices from places like Reddit,
Yeah.
how long will it be before generative AI bots are deployed to simply mimic that brutally honest, slightly cynical tone just to sell us things?
Oh, wow.
Right. And when the machines figure out how to perfectly engineer raw human imperfection,
Yeah.
how will you be able to tell the difference?